Hello, Goddess. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you, Ashley?
I am so good, and it is always a pleasure to see your beautiful smiling face. Like it is,
Oh,
your energy is contagious, and I can't wait to tell the audience more about you and brag on you a little bit. But everyone, welcome
thank you.
to Goddess Talk episode 2. I cannot wait for you to meet and know more about this amazing goddess, Chianti Cleggett. I will give you a little bit of her background, and then as we ask our top 10 questions, you're going to learn so much about her as well. But I met Chianti about a year ago, actually, speaking for the Young Women's Empowerment Conference. And so a little bit about her. She is part of the Greater Birmingham Convention Visitor Bureau. She is a previous journalist, and she has some outstanding accolades from that. She is the founder of the Young Women's Empowerment Conference, and then her most recent launch has been the Journey to She. And both of those, of course, are just great programs to empower teens to become wonderful goddesses, right?
Yes,
And a little
you
bit
got it
more, but
right.
she does amazing work. She works so hard, and she is an inspiration to everyone who crosses her path. So thank you
Oh,
for all you do. Um,
thank you.
well, I guess I'm going to jump right into your 10 questions if you're ready.
Okay.
Okay, so goddess question number 1. Just tell us, I know I there's so much more about you than I was able to just throw out there in the intro. So tell us more about you, your business, your platform, and just what made you start it, what makes you passionate about it, all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, thank you first for inviting me to come. And I so appreciate that you think I'm a goddess because I feel like you are such a goddess. And I always love talking to you too. Your energy is amazing. So
Oh,
thank you. I'm glad that we share that.
yes.
Um, so I always say, to be honest, I have a slash career. And part of that is working for the Birmingham Convention and Visitor, I'm sorry, the Greater Birmingham Convention and Visitors Bureau, where I do sales. I still do a little bit of freelancing, and then I have a nonprofit. So the nonprofit is the part of my heart that comes out to the world because I feel like I've been called to mentor and empower young girls. In the past, it's always been teen girls, but I'm also feeling like God is kind of working me into a little bit of the subset of maybe college girls or young adult women, because I think we all need women who are older than us, who are seasoned to give us guidance. And I had that as a young adult, and I feel like I want to be that for some young girls. So Journey to She was just created last year, the end of Young Women's Empowerment Conference, which we started back in 2008 and had an amazing, amazing run. That ended back last year when some of the ladies were thinking that they weren't ready to continue on. So we decided to end that. But my heart and my calling and speaking with my mentors and talking with God, I felt like there was something more for me to do. And so he gave me the idea of continuing on because as one of my mentors pointed out to me, God had spoken to me actually before we had the meeting about, us ending the organization. And he said, it's time for them to leave. It is time. They're going to say that they're done with it. And so when I had that talk, through tears, of course,
Mhm.
with my mentor, she said, well, he said that it was time for them to go. He did not say that it was time for you to end it. And when I tell you my tears dried immediately, and it was just like a light bulb went off in my head. And it was like, oh, yeah, wait, I still have work to do. So I started with some of the girls that I had been with from the previous years and some new girls that came for interviews. And I explained to them, what it was that we were planning to do. So it, of course, was not as big and grand as Young Women's Empowerment Conference has been. But this is a growing and a new process for me to do on my own, but I'm very excited about it. I love mentoring and talking to girls and just hearing where they are, because I think sometimes they get forgotten about.
Well, I didn't know kind of that insight into how Journey of She got started. So yeah, I was just thinking with every end comes a new beginning, and I think you're exactly right. Sometimes we get so kind of attached to something ending, we don't open ourselves up to something even more amazing happening. So thank you for sharing that. That's such a beautiful story, and I was getting a little choked up too because I've had the privilege of seeing her in action for both. And
Yeah.
yeah, she said Journey to She isn't as big, and I'm going, but not yet, not yet, but it's going to be there for sure. Well,
Thank you,
thank you so
Ashley.
much for sharing that. And then what about with everything going on with COVID right now? How has that affected you personally? Or has it kind of led you to go within and discover something new within yourself?
So, funny thing for me, I have to laugh because a lot of people don't think this about me, but I am such an introvert. So this has been a joyful time for me. I miss
You're loving
people.
that I'm recording all of this right now, right?
Yes. Oh.
I had to twist your arm.
Freak out moment, right, right. And as I told you, I was being really honest when yesterday it hit me that I was going to be on camera. Let me say this. Most of my Zoom meetings have been with the cameras closed and everything shut down. You just hear my voice because this is not my thing.
Well, thank
But
you.
absolutely. And I kept saying, I have to honor Ashley. I have to honor Ashley because she believed in me enough to ask me. So I want to do that for you. And so thank you. And one thing also, I have been listening to, I don't know if you've heard of Judy Holler. She is a speaker. I've never seen her in person. I've never met her in person, but I get her emails. She does emails. I think they're called the False Five or something like that. Every Friday she sends them out.
Oh, wow.
But for the not this past Monday, but the previous 4 weeks on Mondays, kind of when this first started for me and we came home to work, she would do webinars on Monday. And her energy is so amazing. And she was teaching us about don't get stuck and just being at home. What can you be doing for yourself? How can you empower yourself? And it started my week off on such an amazing, place because I was like, you know what? I can be great even at home. I can still do things, even if not everything that I want to do. I can still do some things. What are some things that I can get my life spinning and doing better in? So listening to her has been a really, really huge help for me.
And tell me
So
her name
now
again. What?
Judy, Judi, and her last name is Holler, Holler.
Everyone check her out, Judy Holler. I know I
Yes.
will be. Thank you for sharing that.
But I am a huge fan of hers, new fan of hers, I have to say. But her energy, again, is electric, and I really appreciate what she was doing for my soul. So sitting at home, watching her webinars each Monday, it just kind of gave me energy. I took lots of notes. I have a notebook of her notes, things that she taught me. One thing that's been really big for me is starting my day off with scripture. And usually I do prayers at night, when I'm going to bed, and usually when I'm driving to work. But there's no driving to work right now. So,
Right.
so I do scripture in the morning, and I read it and kind of contemplate on it a little bit. She had us writing "I am" empowerment statements.
Yes.
Yeah, and I had never really done that before, so that was really big for me. And she said to read at least 10 or about 10 pages of a book
Oh my
each
gosh.
morning.
Yes.
Because I'm such a book nerd. I love books, but I never get around to reading other ones that I buy. I have such a big collection of books that I have not yet read yet. But working on that, one thing I'm working on at home right now is getting my finances together. So I went back to a book that I've had probably since 2013, and it's a Dave Ramsey book. And so I started reading his book, 10 pages a day, and that's been helping me get my stuff in line. So
that is amazing. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Dave Ramsey for sure. But you said a couple things that I just want to point out, and one is the I am statements. And I am a huge believer in I am statements. I call them affirmations, and my children's book line is filled with them. Actually, and I do them every day myself. There's a quote. It says, "I am two of the most important words. For what you put after them shapes your reality." So you are actually speaking into the universe who you are and who you want to be and where you want to go. And I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. And so when you speak things into existence, they come to you. So it is such a important thing to do. And in our talk yesterday with those goddesses, they do the same thing. They make sure to carve out that time to write something down, to create that space for themselves. And I think as women, we get so busy with, taking care of the family and the kids or running to work. This has given us a time to slow down and go, oh, what about me? What about me?
And
like I matter too, and I need to take care of myself, and I need to create that space to figure out who I am and what I want and where I want to go next. So thank you for sharing that, because I think it's
Absolutely.
been a common theme throughout all these talks. So, and then the 10 pages a day to read a book, that changed my life. Someone told me that, one of my mentors, Dale Smith Thomas, about, I don't know, 6 years ago. And, I always enjoyed reading, but I would never make it a priority to read 10 pages a day. And that changed my life. And what's your favorite book? Do you have one off the top of your head?
Oh gosh. I don't have a favorite book. I have favorite books. So I just recently read Michelle Obama's book, which it took me a while to get through, to be honest, but I really enjoyed learning more about her on a different level than I'd known about her before.
Is it called Becoming?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they have
I
like a
haven't read
journal
it,
that
but
came out recently too.
yeah, I've heard great things about it. But so I gave her these 10 questions in advance, and I did not put that one on the list. So I threw her a curveball right there. But you got it quick. Okay, well, just moving on, I guess, discovering something new and creative within you, you answered that. And just what is your inspiration to move forward now that you've kind of had this slow down time? Like, what is it that you will take with you once this ends and everything moves forward and speeds back up? Like, do you think that you'll be able to keep that with you moving forward?
Yes, so I've stopped trying to be perfect a little while ago, because I know that I can't do everything
Yes.
all the time at the same time. So there are certain things like, just I have to take it bite by bite. I've been walking, not every day, but I try to walk at least once or twice a week. And so, especially when it's nice outside, I know we can't go and kind of socialize with other people, but right now, just getting out for that walk every day, or the days that I can, has been amazing for me. So yes, I want to definitely keep that going. And the affirmations in the morning and scripture in the morning, I definitely want to keep that going, because it has changed my whole outlook for the day. Like, who knew something so simple could change your whole outlook for the day? Again, like, I prayed in the morning anyway, but just taking the moment to sit down and just read scripture and then do something that empowers me to put something back into myself before I start the day to give out from myself just has been tremendous.
That was another thing I meant to, because you said that earlier about you used to do it at night, but you changed it to the morning. I do mine in the morning as well. And I read somewhere, like, that first hour in the morning is the most powerful and impactful hour of your entire day, because yes, you're most refreshed, but nothing, the pressures of the day really haven't started weighing on you, and you're just a clearer space. But more importantly, what I thought was interesting, it becomes your GPS. So kind of like when you get in a car and you put in your GPS and it takes you there, that's what that first hour of your day does for you, regardless what it is. You can sit down and write your I am statements or your affirmations or your prayers or your scriptures, or you can immediately spend that first hour being a maniac. But either way, that's directing the rest of your day like a GPS. So I always keep that in mind now, and it's really true. For me, and I guess you're feeling that way too now, that you like it doing it better in the morning.
Yes. So, and I still pray at night, because I have to do that before I go to bed. Like, I have to get on my knees before I go to bed. It's just
the more the better. But if you're going to do it maybe in the morning, at least do it in the morning or at the morning. Well, you're doing so many great things, and you've talked about the journey of She. How can people connect to you, find you, learn more about the journey of She, or even read some of these amazing articles that you've written? Can you tell us how can they can continue to stay connected to you?
So right now, I'm still organizing everything with Journey to She. So we don't have a website or anything like that right now. I'm just working with the girls that I've been mentoring over the past 9 months. So I'm working on getting everything together with getting a website and getting, some information on Facebook and all that. I am not a social media person, really. So I miss those hands helping me do those things. However, I know that God is like putting other people in my life to help me do those things. So once I get everything worked out and find the right direction for where I want to go with this, then I will get that in there. But my email is always open. It's Cleggett, which is my last name, Cleggett, Cleggett, and my first initial C at yahoo.com. So that's always a good place to get in touch with me.
What is your biggest need as far as volunteers? I feel like so many people are always looking for a way to serve or to volunteer. Like, what is it that would be a really big help for you?
Thank you for that. So yes, absolutely. I'm looking for people to help me with those things as far as social media. I tried to mentor my girls from August until April. Like I kept that part of from the last organization. But so right now, actually, this would have been our last month to meet. We didn't get a chance to meet, but in June, July, we'll start again. And so during those months is where I want to kind of vamp up everything and have someone to help me with social media, have someone to help me with creating a website and getting the word out about what I'm doing and who these girls are and who is accepted, which, we always go through an application process from the previous year, but it'll be a whole new process for this because we didn't do a conference this year. So starting for 2020, 2021, I want to develop a whole new process for getting new girls in because we want people who are girls who are interested in being part of another group and who are interested in empowering themselves. That's a big part of who we are and what we do is empowering each other. And so if you know of any girls or if you have any type of, education of doing social media, or if you just have an interest in helping us, please email me. Again, that's cleggettc@yahoo.com.
Oh my gosh, I think there's so many talented people out there that can help you with that. So
Absolutely.
I hope we find someone through this. But and then of course anyone watching can also contact me to get more information from Chianti as well. I guess now I'm going to get a little more personal and go really into the goddess mindset and what inspired me to start this platform to begin with. I'm finishing up a book called Goddess Wake Up, the 7 key steps to the goddess mindset. And 2 key steps of that is 1, getting outside your comfort zone, and 2, overcoming negative self-talk and self-limiting beliefs. And how do you do that? So tell us maybe in any phase of your life, whether it was more recently or something from the past, where you realized you were kind of underestimating yourself. What was that self-limiting belief and how did you overcome it? What was it and how did you overcome
it? Okay, well, there have been quite a few places in my life where I've done that. The most recent would be Journey to She and believing that I could continue on even though I did not have the women who had been supporting me in the past. So talking with my mentors was a big help. Going again to God in prayer and just getting quiet about what I believe my calling in life is and how I could further that calling, because I don't feel like he would have given me the calling if he wasn't going to help me get through it. So just talking with some of my friends and reading a lot about people who are empowered and how they went through different things and how they continued on, even through the most challenging of times, is kind of what helps me to get through things and to get through to this point with Journey to She. So each month, I always thought about my girls. They are, even from the past, my girls are so important to me. I don't have any children, period. But having daughters, I think, is a special thing. And so when I get to mentor them, I always thought about what would they want to see? What would they want to hear? If I were back at that age, I would want somebody that I knew I could depend on. Just because things are kind of falling apart over here doesn't mean that I don't still need this that's in front of me. So I have to say also that you inviting me to do this helps me to go back to Judy Holler and think, you know what? She always says, get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone, like you were just saying. And that's what helped me to do this. But also tomorrow, I'm going to speak with the girls about some things that they're going through on Zoom. So we're bringing in, our last speaker was going to be a psychiatrist. So she comes in from time to time to talk to the girls about what they're going through. And I was like, wait, they're really going through some things right now. So do you mind doing a Zoom? And she said, yes. And so we're going to do a Zoom call tomorrow to help them where they are. Because again, I think sometimes teens are forgotten about in the midst of life and things that are going on, because we're just rushing to get to the next thing and get them from high school to college and get them into a successful career. But we don't think about like the day-to-day and what they might be going through. So I thought about that, and I thank you again for giving me this idea, because I just kept thinking, I think they need a way to connect right now.
Yeah.
And not just with their friends, but with people
Isn't
who
it funny
can
how
help
the
them.
universe works sometimes? It's just, and that's what this, I'm so glad you shared that that with me, because that's what this is all about. It was connecting us. And when I've been doing my empowerment coaching, what I've realized is we as women just hide from our own magic, and we hide from our truth. And you kind of answered the next question without knowing it maybe, but it was about also that goddess mindset and how important it is to stand in your truth. And that truth is your calling, what you're passionate about. And when you hear that voice and that calling, all you have to do is give power to it. And why is that so scary or so hard for us to do sometimes? But you made a great point. It was just having that mentor and knowing your worth enough to know that there's someone out there who would listen to you, who would help you make that vision and that dream come to life. And that is all just about standing in your own personal truth and knowing your worthiness, and listening to your heart and putting it into the world. And you have done an outstanding job of doing that. So you got
Thank you. Thank you.
So we are coming down the stretch, and the last two questions are going to be a little more lighthearted. And we just want to know your number one quarantine tip or trick that you have come across as making life easier, whether it's mind, body, soul, spirit, any aspect of life.
Okay, so I have 3.
Ooh,
They'll be really quick. They'll be really quick though. One is turn off the news. Oh my gosh, it can become so overwhelming. Get your head out of that game. You don't have to hear every time the news comes on, every time there's a press briefing. And I say that as a past, full-time journalist. I still write now, but I mean, I'm telling you, stop the madness, because it will take over.
Even greater tip that it's coming from the journalist. That's awesome.
Be honest. That is my biggest thing. I have to be honest. So the second thing is get out for a walk. Maybe you can't go where you want to go right now and hang with who you want to hang with, but a walk in your neighborhood can be like the biggest, release for you sometimes. And sometimes that's also a drive, even though I can't really go anywhere right now, just a drive around the block, a drive down the street, just to get behind the wheel of my car and just go somewhere just for a minute. And the third thing is a nap. Anybody who knows me knows that I love my naps. A nap just helps me just get back inside of myself and release the world and everything that is going on, and just have a moment.
I love those. And it's all just about honoring yourself, honoring that space you need to be your best. And we've got to do that as goddesses. Yes. So everyone listen to Chianti. She knows what she's talking about here. Well, those were awesome tips. Thank you so much for sharing those. And then the last one, who is the goddess in your life that has most inspired you?
Oh my gosh. So again, anybody who knows me knows the answer to this, and it is Miss Oprah Winfrey. I mean, you can't get any better than that, I don't think.
Sure.
She has inspired me from the time that I remember being in college. I would plan my day kind of around her. And when she came on at 4:00 p.m. And even after that, like, I love the OWN channel. I love her Super Soul Sundays. I love just her words of inspiration. I just feel like she gets inside of herself and just gives to the world. I just went to her tour, which was done by, I think it's WW Weight Watchers. It was in Atlanta in January. So that's what I spent part of my January doing. It was amazing. That's the second time I saw her on tour. And anytime I can just be in the same air as Oprah, it's just amazing. It's amazing for me. So yes, awesome. Definitely Oprah.
Awesome. Yes. Well, I think she is quite the goddess, right? Maybe the goddess of all goddesses. Oprah.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your tips and your tricks and your advice and all the things that you're doing just to be a stronger goddess in your own life and for so many others. And it is an honor to have had your time here today on Goddess Talk. So I can't wait to share it with everybody. And I hope we can find you some great volunteers. I hope we can help spread the word about Journey to She. You find some new girls to join, and you just got us on, sister. You're doing awesome.
Thank you, Ashley, and same to you. Thank you. Blessings to you.
Blessings. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Bye.